The village of Ravenscroft in the year 1893 was small, surrounded by dense woods that whispered secrets older than memory. Its cobblestone streets twisted unnaturally, alleys narrowing in ways that made strangers uneasy, and the fog that rolled down from the hills seemed to carry more than mist. It carried whispers, shadows, and the echo of old tragedies. Among the villagers, there were tales of a girl who had appeared one stormy evening, standing at the edge of the forest, staring down the main road with eyes wide and unblinking. She never moved, never sat, never blinked, never slept. Her presence became known quickly, because no child or adult could pass her without feeling a chill crawl up their spine, a sensation that spoke of both innocence and something ancient, inexplicably wrong. No one knew her name at first, nor the origin of her strange, unmoving vigil. She appeared to be no older than 12 or 13, clothed in a simple frock that seemed frayed at the edges, dirt streaking her pale skin. The villagers whispered, some calling her cursed, some claiming she was a ghost, and some daring to speak of old witchcraft or forgotten spirits of the forest. Young Samuel, the village baker's son, was the first to approach her. He wanted to see if she was real, if she would respond. "Are you lost?" he asked softly. The girl did not answer. She did not blink. Her lips parted slightly, but no sound emerged. Samuel noticed something uncanny. Her shadow remained fixed no matter the sun's position, and her eyes seemed to follow him, as though she existed in more than one place at once. As days passed, more villagers observed her. She stood at the same spot near the crossroads, rain or shine, day or night. Children were warned not to approach, yet curiosity was irresistible. Her presence became a fixture of village life. People would see her from windows, peek at her while walking home, and some claimed they felt invisible hands brush against them, cold and fleeting whenever they drew near. It was Mrs. Hawthorne, the village midwife, who first suggested a ritual. "This girl, she is not entirely of our world," she whispered to those who would listen. "She carries something ancient, something that cannot rest. She is waiting, or perhaps she is a warning." Her words spread quickly, fueling both fear and fascination. Then came the nights when she began appearing inside homes. No door was open, no window broken. Families awoke to see her standing silently at the foot of their beds, the same unwavering eyes watching them. No one dared speak to her, no one dared touch her. Yet the sense of being watched, of having one's deepest fears reflected in those unblinking eyes, grew unbearable. Samuel, whose curiosity had not waned, decided to follow her one evening into the woods. He moved silently, heart pounding, every snap of twig and rustle of leaves magnified. There she stood at a clearing deep in the forest, the moonlight falling over her like a silver halo. Around her the ground was strangely barren, as if nothing could grow within her presence. Her eyes met his, wide and unflinching, and Samuel felt as though centuries of sorrow and anger pressed against him, an unbearable weight he could neither escape nor comprehend. The villagers began to notice changes. Livestock refused to graze near her. Crops near the crossroads wilted despite soil and sun. Dogs and cats avoided her presence, fleeing or hiding for hours. Some began to claim that time itself seemed to slow when she was nearby. Hours could pass, yet the sun barely moved across the sky. She did not speak, she did not blink, she merely stood, a sentinel of an unknown purpose, a living monument to something far older and stranger than Ravenscroft itself. One stormy night, lightning struck the edge of the forest. The villagers swore they saw her silhouette illuminated against the blaze, still standing, eyes reflecting the fire untouched by wind or rain. A hush fell across Ravenscroft in the days that followed, a mixture of reverence and terror. The elders spoke of a curse, the children told stories of a guardian spirit, and Samuel alone felt the pull to uncover her secret. Whatever it might cost, the presence of the girl had grown, spreading through Ravenscroft like a shadow with will of its own. Villagers could no longer pass the crossroads without feeling her gaze upon them, unblinking, unwavering, as if she measured each heartbeat, each breath, each step. Doors that were once safe now seemed vulnerable. Windows could not keep her out. That night, families would wake to find her standing silently in the corner of their rooms, tall and unmoving, a sentinel of some unspeakable authority. Samuel's obsession with the girl intensified. He began to follow her into the woods every night, noting her patterns, her unwavering vigil, the strange distortions in the air that seemed to ripple outward from her presence. Animals shied away even from him when he approached her, and the wind itself seemed to whisper warnings he could not decipher. Each encounter left him trembling, exhausted yet desperate to understand. The villagers grew fearful. Crops withered, wells dried, and livestock perished inexplicably. Rumors spread. The girl was a curse, a spirit bound by some ancient grievance, or worse, a harbinger of death. Mothers clutched their children, whispering prayers. Men avoided the crossroads, and elders spoke of rituals to appease whatever force she represented. Yet none dared approach her, for those who had spoken to her or tried to touch her reported nights of relentless nightmares, visions of decayed forests, endless standing, and eyes that followed them in the dark. One evening, Samuel noticed something that chilled him more than any rumor. The girl had begun appearing at the same spot inside the village square, but her shadow moved independently. It stretched impossibly, crawling along the walls of nearby houses, coiling around lampposts and extending toward the villagers like black smoke seeking purchase. The girl herself did not move, did not blink, yet the shadow seemed alive, almost predatory, responding to her will or the will that animated her. Determined to uncover the truth, Samuel followed her deeper into the forest than ever before. The trees seemed older here, twisted, their branches gnarled like fingers reaching toward the sky. The fog thickened, and he could hear whispers, faint yet insistent, echoing among the trunks. Names, dates, warnings. As he approached a small clearing, he saw her standing at the center, and the ground around her appeared scorched, as if life itself recoiled from her presence. The girl's eyes locked onto his, and for the first time, Samuel felt the weight of eternity pressing against him. Within her gaze, he saw not only the present but countless pasts and possible futures, all converging into a single horrifying moment. He staggered backward, nearly collapsing, as the whispers became coherent. A litany of names, lives and forgotten tragedies, each connected to a single, unbroken chain of suffering. He realized then that she had never been just a child. She was a sentinel, a guardian, or perhaps a curse, embodying centuries of unresolved grief, rage, and power. Time did not touch her. The world moved around her while she remained constant, eternal and unyielding. Any attempt to move her, to interact, or to understand would fail, leaving only the sense of awe and terror. By the third night, the village had descended into fear and superstition. People refused to leave their homes. Fires burned constantly, and the square where she stood became a place of silence, shunned by all. Children whispered tales of a girl who could see into souls, who could measure worth, whose gaze determined fates without mercy or explanation. Samuel, alone in his obsession, understood that he was drawn not by curiosity but by compulsion, an irresistible pull toward the immovable, unchangeable force that she embodied. On a night when the moon was obscured by clouds, Samuel followed her to the edge of the forest, where the oldest trees grew. The air was thick and still. There she remained, eyes fixed on the village below, and Samuel felt an undeniable truth settle within him. She would never stop standing. Not for days, nor years, nor centuries. The girl was beyond time, beyond fear, beyond understanding. To stand before her was to confront eternity itself. As the first hints of dawn touched the village, Samuel realized the inevitable. Any who dared challenge her presence, any who attempted to question or move her, were drawn into the spell she exuded. Her vigil was not passive. It was a living force, a monument to endurance, observation, and an ancient, unbroken will. And so, as the fog receded and the village slowly awoke, Samuel understood that the girl who never stopped standing had woven herself into the fabric of Ravenscroft, a permanent sentinel, watching, unblinking, eternal. The girl's vigil had become the heartbeat of Ravenscroft. Villagers dared not leave their homes after sunset, for the shadows that emanated from her figure seemed to stretch into the streets, into homes, into dreams. The wind carried whispers of her presence, and even the sun seemed to hesitate, casting long, unnatural shadows in the village square where she stood, still unblinking, unyielding. Samuel, consumed by the need to understand, followed her deeper into the forest than ever before. The trees grew taller, twisted, and ancient, their roots knotted like the sinews of a long-forgotten beast. The fog clung to the ground, swirling as though alive. The girl remained at the center of a clearing, motionless, yet the ground around her shifted subtly, patterns of frost and decay forming in perfect symmetry. as if she were the axis of some cosmic design. He realized with mounting terror that she was not a child in the way he had once thought. She was a sentinel of something older, something vast, something that had existed long before Ravenscroft itself. The air around her vibrated with energy, pulling him toward understanding yet resisting comprehension. He felt the pull of centuries, the weight of countless eyes watching, judging, recording. Suddenly, the shadows began to move independently of her, extending into the forest, coiling around the trunks, reaching toward Samuel yet never touching him. Whispers filled the clearing, names of lost children, vanished villagers, long-dead ancestors, all entwined with her presence. The girl's eyes met his, and in that gaze he saw infinite time, past, present, and future converging. The world outside the clearing seemed to slow, then halt entirely, leaving only the girl and the forest, suspended in a frozen eternity. Samuel understood then the true horror. She was eternal, unmovable, unstoppable. Her presence was a constant, and those who drew near were bound to witness it, to endure the unblinking vigilance, to feel the pressure of timeless observation pressing upon their minds. No force in the world could alter her, no ritual, no prayer, no plea. She was both guardian and curse, monument and warning. The village square became deserted. The crops grew sparse, the wells dried, and livestock avoided her shadow. Children whispered tales of eyes that could pierce souls, of a girl whose gaze decided fate, and of a nightmarish presence that stretched beyond the veil of mortality. Samuel alone remained compelled, drawn inexorably toward her presence, understanding that he too would become part of her vigil if he could not endure the terror she embodied. As night fell, a storm gathered over the hills. Lightning illuminated her silhouette, the girl unmoved by wind or rain. Shadows stretched impossibly, crawling into the village, enveloping houses, touching hearts with a chill that left no warmth. Samuel knelt in the clearing, trembling, realizing the inevitability. To witness her was to be bound by the weight of centuries, to confront an immovable force of observation and judgment, to feel the presence of eternity in the form of a single child who never sat, never blinked, never stopped standing, and yet, amidst terror there was awe. For those who gazed upon her, there was a glimpse of something infinite, a glimpse of time itself frozen in a moment of perfect vigilance. Ravenscroft would never forget her. The forest, the square, the very air carried her essence. The girl who never stopped standing was more than a legend, more than a curse. She was an eternal sentinel, the embodiment of unyielding presence, a witness to all that had passed and all that would ever come. Even today, travelers tell of a pale figure at the edge of the forest, standing through sun and storm alike. They speak of a chill that follows them home, whispers that echo in empty rooms, and eyes that follow them with patient, unblinking vigilance. And those who approach too closely sometimes vanish, joining the unending observation, becoming part of the eternal presence that is the girl who never stopped standing. The village of Ravenscroft endured, but it was forever changed. The girl remained unmoved, eternal, unblinking, a living monument to the passage of time, the weight of expectation, and the terrifying beauty of someone who could never, would never be interrupted.